The Gauteng taxi industry has issued a 7-day ultimatum to the provincial government, warning it will basically go on a strike province-wide. That's if its demands are ignored. The South African National Taxi Council spokesperson, Fritz, joins us to talk about this. Graham, a very good afternoon to you. Great to have your time on SABC News. So at the briefing this morning, you and SANTACO described your relationship with the Transport MEC, Kidiboni Diale-Tlhabela, as one that has broken down. She gives a different account in her briefing this afternoon. What exactly do you mean when you say it's broken down?
Thank you, Tembele, and thank you for good afternoon to your viewers. What happened, Tembele, is that we had a very good relationship with the MEC. Everything was going well. However, at some certain point, we were engaging with the MEC, and the MEC just went ahead and communicated with the taxi associations without taking the leadership from the provincial and regional leaderships who are duly elected. She then went and then just communicated with them all on her own without taking the leadership with. And we have several times asked her not to do it, to take us with her.
Why is it important for you that the communication happen in that way? Because, and I'm paraphrasing here, listening to the MEC speaking in the last hour or so, her portrayal, her depiction, shall we say, characterization of that very issue appears to be one that suggests that she wanted direct communication with all members of the transport sector, the taxi industry, whereas, and I'm using a word that she didn't necessarily use, but there'd been gatekeeping perhaps from other levels within the associations.
Tembele, it's not a case of being the gatekeeper, as you say. It's a question of taking the leadership with her so that we can assist wherever there's challenges in that specific meeting. We don't have a challenge with the MEC going to the associations. We only have a challenge with not taking the leadership of the structures from SANTACO and GNTA as well.
So you would agree then to the road shows that she wants to hold with the industry only on the condition that you, at, shall we say, at a provincial level, are in the room or at least involved in the coordination and organization of those engagements?
That is correct, Tembele.
Well, the MEC says the relationship has not broken down. Her door remains open to negotiations. In fact, she says there are fora available for those very conversations to take place. What does that mean for your 7-day ultimatum? And did you really, Graham, exhaust every avenue possible in terms of trying to speak to the MEC? Because once again, she says her door has been open throughout.
Tembele, that's right, the door was open. However, at some certain stage, communication broke down between the MEC and the two structures. We call ourselves the GTI, in other words, Gauteng Taxi Industry, where we are requested that the MEC not go down to the associations on her own, but take the leadership from the two structures with her. Whichever association is affiliated with that structure will be then going with her to that associations.
But more broadly, please finish your point. Apologies.
No, it's okay. Continue.
I was going to say, is it not counterproductive, though, if you want to find an amicable resolution to the situation, to then walk away from what you admit was an open opportunity for negotiation and then say, well, if we don't get our way in 7 days, there will be this taxi shutdown?
Tembele, no, that's not really what we really want to do. Honestly, that's our last resort. But we have requested meetings with the MEC. We have even written a letter to the MEC's office. We've written a letter to the Premier as well to request a meeting with the Premier himself. And up until now, we didn't even get an acknowledgement from the Premier. Hence, we had to then take this stance of saying, let us go to the media and give our media statement around it before we go to the extra length of the protest or the shutdown. We are open for negotiations. As I said, it's our last straw, but we don't really want to do that because we don't want to inconvenience our own passengers. Remember, we are faring around about 80% of the entire South Africa, and that we don't want. Passengers are our people. We can't let them suffer because we are transporting them to and from their works.
And Graham, do you then, as the taxi associations, is there a clear line of demarcation between your negotiables and non-negotiables if you're going to sit back down with the Gauteng Transport MEC, who you seem to have a particular issue with specifically?
We don't have specific negotiables and non-negotiables, Tembele. We are, as I say, our door is open as well. We have been engaging, as I said, with the MEC's office, and we even now, as I say, we engage with the Premier's office. So we want to continue with that communication, and we, as I said, we are open to have a meeting ASAP. We don't want this protest, but it is our last resort, honestly.
One of the troubling things that I picked up during the briefing this morning, Graham, was talk about the possibility of conflict, possibly violence. We know in Gauteng it's happened before in areas such as even Soweto, in Alexandra, etc. What does that mean, actually, when we talk about the possibility of violence in this instance? What exactly is fermenting among members or players in the taxi industry in Gauteng that might lead to conflict and violence?
Mm-hmm. Tembele, let me rather acknowledge as well the fact that the MECs has been doing a great job regarding the violence in with the negotiations between us with the structures, with the two structures and the MECs. The MEC, Dialet Labela's previous predecessor, Mr. Mamabolo, as well. There were good negotiations, and the conflicts came really to an end. We are really at the minimum of conflicts at the moment. So if this partnership is not going to continue with it, it will have an effect on conflicts as well, whereby certain associations will feel that the leadership is not there to represent them when the MEC meets with them, and we will then have unnecessary conflicts and violence in the taxi industry.
Graham, we hope that it doesn't reach that point. Thank you so much for speaking to us, Graham. Fritz, one of the leaders in the Gauteng taxi industry, speaking to us about this falling out that the industry has now had with the Transport MEC, Gidiboni Dialekhabela, who says once again her door remains open for negotiations. So the taxi industry, according to Graham, also willing then to go back and talk about the issues, including the delayed issuing of permits and licenses. We'll keep you right across what that means and the 7-day ultimatum from the taxi industry